Season 7 of Old School Outdoors is being brought to you by Vintage Furniture.
Good job, my man.
Coming up this week on Old School Outdoors.
We might end up with a mess of doves right here.
I think that we're having a migration of deer from other properties actually coming here and staying because of the water.
But we're here this time with the Army Buck Hunters Group.
Freedom is alive and well out here at the Double G Ranch.
Squeeze the trigger. That's the one I'm looking for. Went 3 feet, straight down. Ooh, 45-70 rides again. Lord, look at the size of that one.
Well, as my old buddy Greg says, it's just another beautiful day in paradise.
Folks, that's old school right there.
So Mr. Greg Hall brought us down here to do some deer management. So what that means is he wants us to come down here, take out some of the doe population for him because he has an abundance of doe, and to help manage some of the genetics in his herd.
Well, we're back here at the Double G with the Army Buck Hunters Group. Greg had met this group in Houston at the Texas Trophy Hunters outing, and they became friends. They're a great group of guys. Vinny and Dan, we have had a great time with them, and we've really enjoyed this. We certainly appreciate the sacrifices these guys have given to see that we're able to do exactly this right here every year.
This trip came about through my relationship with Vinny Reynolds, who knew Mr. Greg Hall.
First buck in Texas.
First buck in Texas.
Then I met Greg at a Texas Trophy Hunters show last year, I believe down in Houston. And we got talking, and Mr. Greg said he'd like to bring out a couple more veterans to have a hunt, and Vinny and I were the lucky ones to be able to come out and enjoy it.
So we're trying to take out spikes, slick 8s, slick 6s, old mature 8s, just trying to get that herd up to its prime. And I can tell you, it's dang close.
There's a thing about the Double G. I'm in the middle of the desert, and what I've done in the last 12 hunting seasons out here is try to create an oasis for the deer.
When me and Mr. Dan came down here, we kind of had our expectations, and to say they weren't surpassed by light years is a complete understatement. Mr. Greg has created such an environment for these deer, such a habitat for them, that they're so abundant. They're coming from counties, maybe even states away. These deer, I mean, they come in, they want to eat, and they want to drink. And so you need food and water to keep these deer around, and Mr. Greg has provided them that, and it shows. It shows in his herd.
Another new thing I'm doing in conjunction with the Texas Park and Wildlife, we're doing surveys to see how many deer we have and to give us harvest recommendations on what we need to harvest to keep the right number of deer for the habitat. Well, the total route 7.8 miles. Dan, the banker man, been in there doing the tally. We're going to have to get it out and analyze it, and then we can tell how many deer per acre that we saw on this trip. But I can tell you one thing, that's a rough, rugged ride back here, hanging on and spotlighting.
That's a long, slow way back home.
I'm telling you.
That took a while.
Yeah, we started at 9:30 and it's 12:41.
No wonder I was yawning a bit.
Yeah. Time to go to bed, analyze this data. It's all good. But we can take this data though, and this can tell me how many deer we need to take off of here.
Right.
The habitat will only handle so many deer.
That's right.
We've got to get them, get the numbers.
These are good tools to use to determine your harvest for the year.
Yeah. I wish there's an easier way to do it.
Yeah, it is. They call it a helicopter.
Yeah, okay. We're going to buy me a helicopter,
There we
Daddy.
go. That ain't no big
There
deal
you go.
for a stepper.
Season 7 of Old School Outdoors is being brought to you by Wide Open Outfitters. Season 7 of Old School Outdoors is being brought to you by Vintage Furniture, Orthopedic Specialists of Louisiana, Wide Open Outfitters, Belt Fed Apparel, Heat Wave, and by Homes for Troops.
Greg has his management program going on at the moment, and it's in a program by which he needs to make deer surveys, provide those to the Wildlife and Fisheries Group, and they help him manage the numbers of his deer on his place here. Once again, we saw in a little over 7 mile trek, a little over 90 deer, which is a pretty high count for this area. But he has a very nice, probably overpopulated almost group of deer here this year. Brought on probably as much because of the drought as much as anything else.
There's a lot of doe here, so if we can help Greg out with managing some of those doe, well, then that's what we should do, and that's what we would do. There's some big doe out there, so maybe we'll try getting one of them.
I think they were having a migration of deer from other properties actually coming here and staying because of the water.
He keeps water here for them, and he's run a program that he understands. They've got to have the water. In this area, the Pecos River is probably the one source of water that never dries up. That's closest. The Rio is not terribly far away, but it's the time of year that as dry as it is, they're going to migrate to that water if there's none around. So the fact he has these earthen tanks around means everything to these deer in respects to staying here in this area.
Here comes another spike. There's 4 spikes out here. There's a big cow horn there. Yeah. It's up to you. I mean, there's so many deer. You tell me what you want shot.
Well, you know, the thing is, they can hear us up here talking, so I'm gonna go into silent mode. You either hit him in the throat or you missed him to the front.
Yeah, I mean, he usually just got up top like that.
We go in, we go to the rattlesnake. So we're gonna go to new territory. We see quite a few deer. Benny puts a smack down on his 3rd doe, and good shot, didn't go far, make a quick recovery.
All right, so we had a real old, mature 8-point come in, big body deer, but you don't get big by being dumb. When he came in, I drew up on him, took a nice shot, but he matrixed me. He juked that arrow and took off up through this thicket here, going up this draw. So we're up here trying to look for him, but we let him try to go up here, hopefully lay down, but we didn't find no blood. So we waited, the doe came in, we pulled back on her, and pretty sure we double lunged her, so she's probably right around the corner here. We're gonna give her a few minutes until we go over and pick her up.
I thought you either hit him in the neck or missed him, and if you did hit him in the neck, we'd had a trail of blood. So that happens, my man. That's the reason they call it hunting.
Well, he ducked that bullet.
He did.
Good job, my man.
Double lung, baby. Don't take long.
Season 7 of Old School Outdoors is being brought to you by Orthopedic Specialists of Louisiana. Season 7 of Old School Outdoors is being brought to you by belt-fed apparel.
I promised the guys though, I said, look, if we shoot enough dove, I'm gonna make one of my Cajun Grandma LeBlanc gumbos.
All right, we're gonna head out for the afternoon, do a little dove hunting.
I've got some good down-home sausage, but I got to have some dove to go in that gumbo.
They got a strong tailwind.
Pretty little birds.
Well, we decided that in the evenings we'd probably do dove hunts, and we did pretty much every evening we were here. This time around, unlike many times in the past, there weren't nearly the birds that we normally experience down here. The drought could be affecting that to some degree, but we just really didn't see any great numbers of doves. Now, in this area, you're subject to have mourning doves, white-winged doves, and the old collared dove. Ultimately, it's 3 different doves here that you are likely to take as you're hunting. So this time around, with no exception, we ended up with 1 or 2 or 3 of each.
Another one coming.
I'll tell you what, when they're using that wind, it's tough.
They got it up to the butt. They're gonna be lucky for the shot to catch up with them. It was a good evening. We had a lot of fun.
I was introduced to hunting and fishing as a very, very young child. I mean, my furthest back memories were going out with my dad. He'd take us out fishing. I'd go out and sit in the woods with him on our old farm outside of Spokane, Washington, and we'd sit on a log and deer hunt. I mean, I remember back as far as 5 years old was probably when I started going out fishing and hunting with him, and I've been involved in the outdoors ever since.
We got here to number 7. There were no birds present when we drove up. We decided we'd wait just a little bit and just see. And within less than 10 minutes, we could see some birds flying in the distance. So we kind of went ahead and got set up on what would be the east side of this little spot, a little field, and killed a couple of birds from there, but then figured out we'd probably be better over on the other opposite side. We moved over here, and we've been much better so far.
We got a little bunch of them over here, 4 of them over here. We had 1 or 2 over there when we started, and I don't know what Dennis has got now. 6 over here? 6 or 7?
6.
So we're over 1 limit. We're looking for more. They're still flying.
One more bites the dove. We'll see. We might end up with a mess of doves right here. All right. Bingo. One more bites the bullet.
That's a pretty dove right there. Gorgeous dove. Good eats.
I'll shoot you. Thank you.
The dove hunting has been awesome. They've told us the numbers of dove aren't as high as they were 2 weeks ago, but you wouldn't know it. I mean, we've set out and had constant shooting for an hour, hour and a half. So the dove hunting here is great. You get a chance to go out and find some pigs if you get a chance. You get to go look for some javelina, and never know what else you'll see at this ranch as well.
That and crapped on it. Look at all of them flying right now. Rattling frog coming around. Good God, look at that. We may have right at 20 birds. That won't have been a bad day at all. So we'll count them up when we get back. It's right now. Sun just went down, and it's time to call it a day. So we're going to go count our birds up and head back to the house and see what we got, get them cleaned up. Hopefully we got enough to make a gumbo.
We had a good day. We had a busy day. Got 35 dove over there. We got a doe and a buck this morning. Great day. Yeah, we had fun. Had a little slack time in between, catch up on the football scores. Can't get much better.
Season 7 of Old School Outdoors is being brought to you by Homes for Troops. Season 7 of Old School Outdoors is being brought to you by Vintage Furniture, Orthopedic Specialists of Louisiana, Wide Open Outfitters, Belt Fed Apparel, Heat Wave, and by Homes for Troops.
Well, folks, this is one of the special trips we've made for 2 years now that has brought these veterans here to the ranch, and this is a very unique deal. I mean, these guys are extremely appreciative. They have put their lives on the line so that you and I and everyone else can do the things we do, whether we're hunters, fishermen, or if you just enjoy sitting at home and watching TV. That's all right. All of that comes about because of men like Vinny and Dan and the fact that they're willing to put their life on the line to keep your freedom intact.
On my last deployment in Afghanistan, the Taliban there wasn't used to people fighting back. So when we got there, we hit the ground running and took it to the Taliban. Well, then they decided they didn't want to fight us anymore, so they just started placing IEDs all over and turned the whole AO into a minefield. We were on a foot patrol, and I was a point man for the patrol. Walking down a road, found 2 IEDs down a road, and decided we were gonna take a different route. So I saw a little goat path alongside the road and decided to take that. And 10 to 15 meters off that road, I stepped on an IED that took my lower left leg. But, you know, being out here and going hunting and being able to enjoy the outdoors really gives you an appreciation. And, I mean, you just sit there and think like, this is what freedom is, to enjoy this environment, this experience. And this is the definition of America and freedom, and you know, everything that these guys encompass, as well as patriotism. And freedom is alive and well out here at the Double G Ranch.
One of the things you get to think about when you're out here as a veteran, when you're sitting in the stand or when you're sitting on the back porch and we're looking over the view that we had, you know, Vinny and I would talk about guys that didn't make it. We talk a lot about our time in service, and there's a big difference there. The age difference between Vinny and I is huge. I'm old enough to be his dad, yet we feel like brothers. Our experience in the military was completely different in a lot of ways, but very similar in other ways. And that is when you get under fire, you get in situations where guys don't get to come back. It doesn't matter how old you are, what service you were in, what country you were in, it doesn't matter. Those guys, you know, didn't get left, you know, they didn't get left behind, but they didn't get to come home. They didn't get to see their family again. And when you sit out in the blind and you think about things like that, like I said, it really makes you appreciate what we've got now, and it makes you value the guys that you've known that aren't here with us now. It really makes you appreciate what you've got.
Perfect. See him right there. Just went down.
This is a memorial bracelet. This is for Specialist Schiller. He was a guy that served in my unit. About 2 weeks into my Afghanistan deployment, we were in a firefight and he didn't make it out with us. So I wear this and to commemorate him, so that no matter where I go, Schiller's with me.
The one thing I would say that, you know, the overall experience down here, again, being able to appreciate what Mr. Greg has done for us at the Double G Ranch. I mean, and he loves sharing it with people. That's what he built this for, was to be able to bring folks down here. He's got friends and family every year that come. He's gracious enough to host a few veterans every once in a while to come down here. And you come down to do management hunting, but you get so much more out of it than if you're on a trophy hunt somewhere else. I mean, in all reality, I'd gladly come down here and take 5 does for him and enjoy this whole experience, you know, rather than just come and look for a trophy buck. I mean, he's done an incredible job. He's doing incredible things, and I look forward to seeing what he's got in the future.
So Greg, again, I want to give him all the credit in the world. He's put forth the effort, he's put forth the money, and he's put forth the time to build what he has here, an excellent hunting place.
I would like to thank Mr. Greg Hall and everybody else here at the Double G for their hospitality. And I'd like to thank Old School Outdoors for inviting myself and Dan and future and past Army bass anglers and Army buck hunters out here to enjoy this experience out here at the Double G Ranch.